Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi Cornelia.
Hello, Katie.
So I am here with my lovely ISEN colleague from Romania, Cornelia Cacu.
Almost.
Sorry, Cornelia. I was practicing too.
Yes, cuckoo. You can say cuckoo, but it's not cuckoo. But you can say it.
Cuckoo.
Like that.
So Cornelia, you've been connected with us in ISEN for almost a year. We were just saying, just kind of around 10 months or so. And we connected very synchronistically, like most of the connections, because you experienced very extreme spiritual emergence process yourself. And like lots of people, it's kind of propelled you to want to support other people going through the process. And you have been an amazing colleague for the last 10 months, working, dedicating your time to setting up a Romanian spiritual emergence network to support other people. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you here as part of the campaign, and I really appreciate you being with us and sharing your story. Thank you.
Thank you for being such a great team. I really feel like home with you guys. So I feel a totally acceptance. So this is thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, we were just saying, weren't we, that you can connect with people who've been through this experience wherever we are in the world and just feel so like we've known each other for years. You just connect at such a deep heart level, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
Like a big breath, you know?
Absolutely. A breath of relief. Yes. Normality in the crazy world. So I wonder, Cornelia, if you could just let people know a bit about your personal story and what kind of led you to be part of ISEN and want to set up the Romanian SEN. How did the experience start for you?
Okay. So my experience started when I was 5 years old. That means 27 years ago. I had no idea what was going on then. No one had any idea what was going on. I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. I remember my first human memory is being a ball of light and landing up in this body, and everything was ecstatic, but the love was so intense and so whole that when I realized that this is life, I was, this is life. It was absolutely amazing. And I easily felt in love with anyone. I was seeing a cat and I was falling in love. I was seeing a flower and I was falling in love. I was falling in love with life. And because I came in, Romania was a communist country until 89, December 89. The matrix was very tied up. The information, we were not allowed to have a lot of information, but I had parents that were quite hippie for the system, and this was a big gift for me. So we were not allowed to have information in my house. We were always listening to music from the American music, and the books. They were buying books for us to have a culture and for us to have this base. So though the system was not permissive with this stuff, I came into this family, and the family was prepared.
Wow.
Yeah, and that is quite amazing because my parents are very open-minded. And now that I remember my past, I can see two timelines, one in which we were all unconsciously, and we were fighting and having this, little self
Mm-hmm.
comes, and the other one in which my father was putting crystals, quartz crystals, uh, at our necks, and my mother was doing bioenergetically, sessions.
Wow.
The two timelines, I can see them clearly. One was preparing me for this time.
Wow. Wow. So that's a past life that you're aware of that you had.
Yeah, no, it is actually this life.
Oh, it's okay.
Yes, this life with two timelines.
Okay.
Both coexisting.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, we
Gosh.
were very spiritual, and after that, we were very unconscious. Yeah, it was like.
Okay, so you're seeing the paradox of the two happening alongside. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And actually, you know, it might sound very strange to some people listening, but it's very common. People, when they're going through this process, to experience different time frames and awareness of going in and out of time zones and multiple realities. Wow. Wow. Gosh, Cornelia, so you were 5 when this happened. I mean, that's an awful lot to deal with when you're, well, for anyone of any age, but when you're growing up. So I know that you said that it led to quite a lot of depression for you and really difficult times.
Yes, because after this awakening, sexual trauma was inflicted because of this enormous eros I had, and I don't know if it is the right word, but when such an enormous vital energy inside the body, or how I felt it, it was attracting predators, prey. Yeah. And
Right.
Then,
Wow.
it led to this sexual trauma, and I remember that this inflicted. I felt separated from my lower body. So I had the upper body part and my feet that were actually mine, but there were two parallel worlds.
Wow.
One I was living in kind of sort of a hell because I was feeling everything so profoundly. Every pain, I could feel the pain of everything. I know that I was saying what's wrong with this world, because the things should not be like this, and I had a lot of anger upon this world, upon the world that what am I doing here? Growing up, this led me to a lot of suicidal thoughts. So when I was 15, because of the enormous pressure that was inside myself, and because of me not being able to understand from that perspective what's happening, I started cutting myself, self-inflicting injuries, because it was the only form of tension release for me. I had a lot of anger. I could absorb everyone's anger around me, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like a big mountain exploding.
Yeah.
And for me not to harm the others, I just went and self-inflicted doing this injuries on myself. I remember talking to God. I don't know which God back then, because I had a little fight with the God in the same period as with the Kundalini awakening. I also had a sub-personality that appeared, because someone dear for me told me that I'm the devil. So I took it on myself, and being the devil, I was not able to live because the devil should be punished by God. And it was like duality, a big duality dance inside myself. So you should not live, but something else was saying, "Oh, you're allowed to live. You love so beautifully. You have so much love to give to the world. Why you shouldn't live?" So in the end, I came to the conclusion that the devil is a good guy. Yeah. So in this way, I kind of accepted that part of myself. So okay.
Wow.
It was my preparing for passing duality into non-duality, and understand that good and evil are only concepts in the human mind. So we have to go beyond that, because life for me started beyond duality, beyond all these concepts of good and evil. Oh, you're bad, you're...
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you've shared such profound stuff there, Cornelia. It's like, I'm going back to something you said about feeling, because there's so much as well. Really interestingly, we can relate to how maybe the psychiatric system would talk about these kinds of things that you've just described. Feeling like you're split from your body. So when you experience a sexual trauma, it's really common for someone to disassociate from their body and go into another realm, and that's kind of what you described has happened. So do you find it now easier to understand the things that you've described because you have this spiritual understanding?
Yes, I can understand. I think this is the biggest gift I have received from this life experience, because I don't see it as I don't see it as, oh my God, I see it as a blessing, because I really, really know that I am able to understand each soul. If a human being is addicted, any addiction, I can understand it. Any trauma, I can understand it. I can empathize with the victim and the aggressor both simultaneously. So this is my biggest blessing, I think. Being dualistic helped me understand people.
That's incredible. So what helped you, Cornelia, to get to the part of the integration where you said you learned to love your devil, as it were, so your shadow, the archetype that Jung would talk about, that devil inside we've all got, and a lot of people are very split off from that. So learning, like, I love the way you described it, the devil's a good guy, it's like it's just part of me, when we kind of wake up to that unity. What helped that for you with the integration? Did you have another kind of awakening to realization for that, or has it been a gradual thing?
Actually, it was a gradual thing, because I started learning from darkness. I started loving darkness because I knew that I was a very loving person, and because I was very harmonized with nature, not with humans, but with nature. All animals were loving me, and I was loving them back. And by having this quality, I understood that I can go inside what we call darkness to see what's there. And that's because
Oh dear, we've got an unstable connection going on. We missed that bit, Cornelia. You froze for a little while.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, can you do you mind just going back? You were saying that you had a great relationship with nature, but not so with people.
Yes, I could understand nature better than people, because in my head I was thinking people have the ability to choose. So why are we acting like this? So I had to go in the shadow, into the darkness, and learn, see what's there, see why are we doing this to ourselves.
Yeah.
So I started reading a lot of books. I started searching, and I started writing. Actually, I wrote a book. It is a lot of information there about how to love darkness inside yourself, because I was there. And in this road, after a period of time, something called me. It was a personal practice, using sounds, using binaural beats to synchronize the brain. I started working for 2.5 years. I worked intensively with that type of meditation. After 2 programs at the Monroe Institute, I understood and worked a lot of aspects, like, parts of myself that were left behind in this lifetime, and I could clearly see that those were mine. I kind of called them home.
Wow. Okay. So that's a kind of form of like soul retrieval in a way, the
Something.
pieces of you that were kind of shattered in trauma.
Yeah.
So there are various methods that are used with that, isn't there? So binaural beats.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
my method. It was the method that totally and completely resonated with,
Mm-hmm.
because it used sounds. So I'm very familiar with sounds. It is a technique. I like singing a lot, and since I was a child, I was singing myself to trance. So for me, life is music. Well, matter is music. Every word is music. So it was like home for me to work with sound.
I think that's so important because it's about finding the thing that resonates with you, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
definitely the thing. It's like...
And I was very frustrated because no other method was working. I was trying to meditate and I was saying, that's bullshit. You cannot do it. I was trying to visualize white light, red light, green light. No, nothing was working because it was not for me. Yes, and I agree with you. Every person has a method for himself. And something else that I learned, that we must allow ourselves to see what's appropriate.
Yes. Yes.
To see, because sometimes if a method is appropriate for us, it just
Oh dear, we keep losing you,
the
Cornelia.
okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you're back. You're back.
Okay.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, the information you're sharing is so important. And I think, although how you describe it and your experiences were very profound compared to a lot of people, actually the manifestation of the trauma, like the self-harming, the cutting, is really common, isn't it? So to kind of find ways as well to help yourself, if you're going through this darkness. And I love the way that you described about delving into the darkness, delving into that and finding the answers there, because you have to do that, don't you? You can't find it elsewhere. It's that the answers are in the darkness. Was there anything in particular that helped you do that? Like you said, you read a lot. Anything that you can remember that kind of led you to realize that that's what you needed to do, or that helped with that? Because it's difficult, isn't it? It's painful. And
Actually, I have to admit something, that my mind helped me a lot in the process. I never lost my mind, actually.
Right.
So, though I was identified with all sorts of emotions and I was torn apart, my mind was always there, saying, stay focused. And this helped me a lot. So this verticality that was inside myself.
Okay.
And though things were quite difficult sometimes, there was like the witness, the observer there, that was not identified with the experience.
Okay. That's so I'm so pleased that you mentioned that, Cornelia, because that's the thing, isn't it? It's like the fine line between losing yourself out of consensus reality into psychosis and holding on to that sense of, like you say, the witness, so that you don't lose yourself completely. So the ego is made out to be a really bad thing, but it's not. That's kind of our safety. It's our safety handrail in a way, keeps us in. What would you say? Would you say that's because you had a very stable upbringing? You had loving parents, you had a sense of... Was there anything in particular that helped you hang on to that, do you think?
I think my cat.
Sorry?
My cat,
Your
actually.
cat? Oh.
I learned unconditional love from a cat when I was little, so I believe that that's
Oh.
what it comes out. Yes,
Oh.
we had also, though we had a lot of conflicts because my parents also um, went through the process with me. Mine was more dramatic than theirs, but when my mother knew what she had the information within her, and she
Wow.
knew what I was going through because
Wow.
she read a lot, and while I was going through this form of turbulent experiences, she said. I asked her once to hospitalize me because
Mm-hmm.
I said I will do something very very awful to me today. So please do something for me. I
Mm.
asked for help, and she said I won't hospitalize you because you will lose yourself there. So we're
Wow.
yeah together.
Gosh, what insight, what insight. So you're living proof that you can go through this really, really profound, turbulent crisis transformation and not end up hospitalized or with a diagnosis if you have a really strong safety net keeping you.
Yes.
Wow.
Because they knew what they did not had the experience of this, but they knew their intuition told them to not hospitalize her because she will be okay.
Gosh.
Though for my mother and for my father as well, was very difficult to see
Mm.
their daughter going through this because they could hear me screaming and I was screaming and I had this
Wow.
powerful self-expression and I was like, well, okay, she's doing
Wow.
it again. Leave her alone because
That's really important for people to hear. I really appreciate you sharing that kind of what you know, the fact that it was so bad that you were screaming in your room
Oh
because
yeah, I did a lot of them. I actually destroyed some of the objects in the house and also my mother's floor. I was hitting it with a broomstick, and there was so much energy inside myself that I had to express it. And I said sorry, but I will do this. So they were very okay with my manifestation because other people.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's really common for people to get very frightened when they see that kind of behavior as well, isn't it? So gosh, to hear your parents kind of knew what was going on and were able
I
to
asked my
hold
mom.
that is strong.
I asked her once, were you ever afraid of me in that state? And she said, no, not a single moment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that helps
Wow.
a lot because when you don't have, when the other is not afraid of you, okay.
Did that help you not to be afraid of yourself?
Yes.
Because you're, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Because it was acceptance there. So
yeah,
it helped me accept what I was going through
yeah,
and not label myself as being crazy or something because that's a difficult part when you're labeling yourself you just go deeper into depression
yeah.
so it's not okay.
And that's why it's so important, isn't it, for the mental health services to understand that if you're labeling someone, actually that perpetuates the crisis. And also, if you're fearful of the process, that makes it worse too. So what you're saying is you needed someone to hold that structure that you didn't have at the time and not be frightened of what was going on.
For me there just contain
Be present.
experience without judging it without anything but be present. I did not even need touches or just be present there and that's okay for me because it's like a beacon of light, the person that's holding the space for you because that's what it is holding
Yes.
space for the other to manifest and to heal the wounds.
Yeah.
uh, it's the beacon of light so you can dive inside that pain and you can come out.
Wow, what a beautiful way to explain it. Wow, wow. So was there anything else that helped at the time? So holding space and being really steady and the beacon of light for you. Was there anything more physical that helped? Like, did you eat certain things or
No, I'm a
be in
vegetarian
nature?
for
Or
8 years, and I felt it was a natural process. I knew that I will be a vegetarian since I was a kid. So no, actually, I did not eat anything because I could not eat. Generally, I could only eat because they were saying that I have to eat, not because I wanted to eat.
mm.
Yeah. So no, but dancing, yeah, dancing and singing, yeah.
Okay. So expressing the energy, allowing the energy out.
And for 1.5 years, which I was egoless, I was like feeling, I knew that I was dissolving, my ego was dissolving. Cornelia was in actually really big pain because she lost her job, her life, her friends, her everything. But on a stage, but on another stage, I was very in peace with what's happening. And I was painting a lot, a lot.
Mm.
I was losing myself in paint and very small details. I was feeling the necessity to put small details and to do this immense work.
Okay. That makes so much sense. So you were allowing the energy out through your body, but you were also doing mindfulness, I suppose, bringing yourself back into body with the concentration and the artwork and the painting. Wow. Yes. And it all fits, doesn't it, with what we know in the spiritual emergence networks to help. I was just thinking about how this has now led you to have the passion to set up the network in Romania. And I mean, what an ideal person to do that when you've been through such an extreme process yourself and know what helps. Do you feel that it's all about your own experience that's led you to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and I feel that now this is what I have to do. Yes. Because though I would love to be a researcher at CERN on quantum physics, but now it's a joke. Yeah. But now I have to do this. I feel like I have to do this because I know the process, and with guidance, that it can be much more easier. The period of time can be shorter because when you have someone beside you that understands you and validates you and say, "Oh, don't worry, you are okay. You're not losing everything. You're just transforming yourself, and it will be okay." You can relax.
Yeah.
And the biggest transformation it is when you are deeply relaxed and you just allow the process to happen.
Yeah.
You're scared, you cannot allow because you are scared. So if you have someone that supports you, you can just relax and say, "Okay, I'll dive in."
Yes, and that can help it move through much more quickly. Wow, and you are so blossoming now. It's incredible to see. It's like you've even in the last year, I think, kind of there's been a lot of shifts for us all, hasn't there? So we grow together now, which is a beautiful thing. And to see the network in Romania forming is just really exciting, and I'm so grateful to you for all of the work you're doing.
Romania needs this network, and it was someone who inspired me to do this. Actually, it is a good friend of mine that it is a gorgeous person, and he went through hospitalization, I think 7 times or 8, or something like that. And he's an immense being. He's so great.
Mm-hmm.
I have this trust that I feel for him, and I know that he will manage to integrate the process. And he was my inspiration. I said, okay, so there are a lot of people like him who do not have the opportunity of having an understanding family. And the support to go through this. So we should build a family.
Mm.
For them.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, yes, and it's gosh, it's really, really heartwarming to hear that, and it's what people need, isn't it? That peer support, people that have been through, understand, to hold space. Yeah, amazing, amazing, and it's kind of ironic, isn't it? It's always the trauma that is the impetus and the kind of the drive for us to do this. So beautiful, beautiful, and it's such a pleasure to share this work with you, Cornelia. And
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
I really look forward to working with you more and seeing how it all unfolds, and our international conference, which I'm sure will happen in the next year or so, will be really exciting, because we've all been working together online, haven't we, for the last year or so. And oh, we've lost you again. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, I can.
Can you hear me? Okay, your picture keeps freezing. I didn't know if you could hear. I was just saying that we were.
Yes,
So we've.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can now. I can now.
Okay.
Yeah. So it does. It just feels like we've created a family, and with so many people all around the world now, and just seeing how it's all unfolding is really exciting. So yeah, I'm so grateful to you for everything that you're doing, and for bringing your wholeness into this and sharing with everybody here today. And I think everything you shared is just, it's so important for people to know in this shift. And yeah, you're just the embodiment of the transformation that can happen if it's not pathologized, if the process is allowed to unfold. So beautiful to see. Thank you, Cornelia.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all so much for being with us, and I'll see you again soon, and maybe we can have another conversation nearer to the launch and see where things are at.
Yes.
It'd be lovely to talk to you again. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.